So just as a quick reminder that the letters that we send to each of the CCOs, just setting out what our expectations are for them, and gives the CCOs an opportunity to reflect what we would like to see in the statements of intent. They don't have to pick up on those things, but they are strong hints for them. That'd probably be fair to say. Mr. Hope, do you want to speak to these, please?
Thank you, Mayor Kircher. Yeah, so 4 CCOs, so 4 letters, 3 are reasonably consistent with the prior year when they were sent through, really because council has set out some longer term objectives. So them being fully achieved in 1 year is not realistic. And again, it's setting a direction of travel rather than something very specific. Ms. Nichols has had experience, quite a bit of experience with these in the past, so it would be welcomed her input into these this year. There is quite a change with Tourism Waitaki Limited because of the potential impact of the Economic Development Agency, which is a decision still to be made, but they will be operating for some time in the 23-24 year. These drafts were circulated to the CCOs for them to see if there was anything that would cause any major concerns to them, just so they could provide a wee bit of feedback. They did come back with some very minor amendments. I don't have those in front of me, unfortunately, but if we could change the recommendation to approves the attached letters with minor amendments, then we'll just incorporate those in the final documents to be sent out. But they were
the changes have been made.
There's been 1 or 2
yeah, I think there was one
minor ones. But
it was like it's in the changing some references, or it was put a word in a different paragraph. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
Councillor McCone and then Councillor Holding.
Under the letter to Tourism Waitaki, item 4, under economic development, what does Tourism Waitaki got to do with the economic and commercial benefit of Cameron's Pit?
That would be absolutely nothing. So that will be removed.
So it's obviously quite an attraction. Sorry.
Is that the one that's meant to be in the Whitestone contract? And
Yes. Yep.
Councillor Holding, is right. Okay. Right. Anything else? Any other comments? Okay.
I'm going to move as suggested by Mr. Hope that we adopt the approved attached letters of shareholder expectation with minor amendments as agreed. The financial year 2003, etc.
Second, Councillor Holding. Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll put it. Those in favour, please say aye. And again, carried. Thank you very much. Okay. Next item is the review of the camp season, which technically the season's closed, even though it's this financial year is still operating. But welcome along, welcome back, Mr. Rendell, and welcome along, Mr. Hyde. So, who's going to speak with us? Lindsay, thank you.
Right, I'll make a start on this. I've trusted everyone has read the report. The previous season has generally gone pretty well. We've had some minor sort of hiccups, well, for choice of a word, only minor sort of issues that have arisen. So overall it's gone pretty well. When I've spoken to our Waimate counterpart, they've experienced a reasonably successful season as well. The issues they struck over there are issues that we struck later in the season. Generally the camps have been pretty well supported. We haven't had any major issues at the start of the season with Labour Weekend. We haven't had historic issues we've had there. So generally, things have gone as well as they possibly could. Be nice to be able to increase the income, and that's something that we'll need to work on in the year ahead. But with the wee bit of advertising and targeting, the campers, then we should be able, hopefully, be able to improve in that space anyway.
Thank you. Councillors, any questions? Councillor Blackline.
Thanks, Lindsay. Just on the note of promotion, I was just keen to understand what the capacity of our campsites are in terms of site heights. Might be. And what is our infrastructure capacity to handle? Like, do we have an understanding of all that stuff?
Through the chair, definitely a very important question to ask. And to be honest, I probably need to come back to you. I know that we have to apply for exemptions at the start of the season to make sure that our capacity matches the facilities that we have. As to utilisation, we don't identify per sites as such. It's a matter of what we're allowed to have on that particular site, but I can furnish councillors with that information anyway.
Yeah, along the way, there are peak times in the season, and some of the infrastructure is boosted as far as that goes. But yeah, generally seems to work pretty well. Councillor McCone and then Councillor Ryan.
Yeah, I just have a question, Lindsay, concerning the revenue and expenses. We've got consultants $670, but the contractors general. So how many people are we employing, and how long are we employing them for to run up $250,000 worth of work?
The Contractors General Code does cover a wide range of things. Our camps supervisor is engaged for 10 months of the year, but we do have other repairs and maintenance needs to occur. So if we have any sort of vandalism, any sort of blockages, any sort of minor sort of work need to be done, and that some of that does include some margin mowing, so looking at edges of the boat harbour and maintaining that, which isn't part of the existing contract at the moment. Just trying to think anything else that might be major. It could cover paint for just improving the presentation of some of the facilities that we have.
One person.
Oh, one person, sorry. Yep.
And so, Councillor Ryan.
Thank you. Just wondering what sort of do we do any sort of analysis at the end of the season just to look at in terms of sort of the income loss? Just curious, I guess, about whether we're getting fewer locals or fewer from outside of the district, and whether last year's perhaps higher than normal due to COVID impacting international travel and that sort of thing. Just wondering whether that information could also help sort of feed into a comm strategy for targeting.
Sorry, I've only got one hearing aid in today, so I did miss the start of that. So could you just repeat that?
No, that's right. I just wondering what sort of analysis is done in terms of at the end of the season, where people are coming from, whether we're seeing fewer from outside of the district or fewer locals, or was that sort of income being less than last season because last season was higher due to like COVID still impacting international travel and that sort of thing?
At this stage, we haven't done any of that sort of analysis. The information I've furnished has been based on the season ticket holders. We've got a lot of work just to analyse the casual users, and that will hopefully provide us a little bit of information of where people come from. But based historically, then we've noticed that a lot of people come from outside the region, so from Canterbury, and they use a couple of campsites in particular. But yeah, we need to do a lot more analysis in that sort of space, and we do have some data available, and we have furnished that in the past. And as part of this report, I haven't included that at this stage anyway.
There is a very large group of Cantabrians stay at wildlife, and there's Crusaders flags everywhere, and I think we should put a ban on those, to be fair. But to one of the comments you made, Councillor Ryan, there is the opportunity to actually promote more than what we do. There's not a lot of active promotion, but the idea of targeting, particularly once things quieten off after Christmas, targeting the Christchurch market or the Dunedin market. There's a lot of people come from those areas as well, and even some from over in Central. They're trying to get away from all the bloody tourists over there. So opportunities.
I know that based on the A2O with the advertising I've been doing, there's been quite a strategic sort of focus using Facebook and Google ads, so we can target those sort of areas. So we do need to do a little bit more analysis and identify those areas that we do want to increase, and hopefully we'll get the results that will justify that sort of expense anyway. It's not large in scale of things from a finance point of view, but we can get more capacity. I think we'll get better financial results anyway.
Okay, we'll go to Aussie Jim and then other Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lindsay, I just beating my constant drum of a discount for Oamaru ratepayers or Waitaki ratepayers. How many? Is there any way that we know how many Waitakians go to Waimati's side of the lake that we could draw home by way of a ratepayers discount?
Through the chair, I did look at the Waitaki District Council report for the previous season, and it did identify the amount of Waitakians that do utilise that side. Honestly, I should have been prepared for that question, but I don't have that available, but we can get that out there. From comments that have been made to me, people, our local residents do like to visit there, and it could be a variety of reasons for that. Could be they've got family alliances there. Could be just a regular sort of meeting spot for them. I think a few years ago we did lose some of our members over that side based on cost. So if there's something that can be considered moving forward, then it's something for us to possibly consider anyway. But it could be part of a larger package.
Councillor Hopkins.
Yeah, look, I've got a couple of questions. Question one, on the first page of your report, I think it's the first page. You advise us that income from camping fees for the latest year is below budget by more than $17,000, and it's also less than was received last year by $13,000 or nearly $14,000, $13,806. So do we have any explanations for this? Are we aware of the reasons? Because that's quite significant. And both of those figures are significant, I would have thought.
Through the chair, definitely not aware of any particular reasons. There's definitely nothing can come back to anyone in our team to suggest why they're not supporting. There could be a variety of reasons. It could be because Waimati may have lower camping fees. There could be cost affordability. So there could be a variety of reasons that we are seeing a higher increase this year compared to last year. And that's where it's probably wise for us to look at how we advertise, how we promote the camping areas for future, and start that strategy moving forward. I think we have relied on a lot of goodwill in the past, and times are a little bit more tougher out there for many families. And when you look at the package, it can soon add up, but the cost per day is a lot cheaper. But for where people want to use the camping areas over the Christmas break, then they are up there. So if they want to save some money, then they'll look at options.
Yeah, my other question was on the next page. The season ticket sales appear to be pretty flat. In 5 years, we've only increased the number of season tickets sold from 367 to 401, i.e. 34 tickets extra. And also, if you look at the chart on that page, it's very clear that we have 2 pretty popular sites and 4 that aren't very popular. Indeed, the 2 popular sites generated 219 season tickets in last year, whereas the other 4 between them only 178. Do we have any specific marketing strategies or discounts that
that might increase the usage of those other, if you like, underperforming or less popular sites, campsites?
Through the chair, it is a little bit difficult. The two popular ones are by far the largest. And so there is capacity at Loch Lead for more, but it's a little bit more exposed. So it does come down to where people do want to camp, and the Sailors Cutting and the Falston campsites are both quite picturesque for the spots, where likes of Wildlife and Boat Harbour are generally smaller in nature. And you may remember a few years ago where we had the flood go through Boat Harbour, then we had to restrict the use in that area. So, yeah, it really does come down to family dynamics and where they want to camp. And I think, once we review any sort of marketing program for next year, then we'll see how we can alter it or target it a little bit better in the future.
Thank you.
Councillor Cowles.
It is anecdotal, sort of coming up the valley sort of way. I think, when people are restricted from travelling overseas, there's a shortage of caravans and motorhomes to be able to be purchased. A lot of people are using those, but we're seeing people travel overseas again. So there'll be a natural reduction in people on where they choose to holiday. But what we have noticed is there's an awful lot outside of those fringe seasons that are travelling still with caravans, and I'm not sure we do the best in attracting them into those areas. As you'll be aware, the commercial camps now closed. Having some of those perhaps facilities, whether that's a partnership with someone or how that looks, but I've never seen that many caravans right through until the end of April actually on the road. So maybe just have a number of sites that are quite popular, and I guess we are competing with them to some degree.
Through the chair, we did have some comments made by our camp manager about NZMCA members utilising the campsite. So that's definitely part of the package we need to look at moving forward. And if we can, definitely we know that we'll have a pretty good idea of the times of year where the camps are could be utilised a bit further, and we can see how we can target that within the Motorhome Association anyway.
McCone.
It's just my own personal, what is the season ticket and what's the daily charge, please?
Right.
The cost
I think
is
it's $5.50 for a season pass.
25.
25, yeah, 25 for a daily charge. So you do get for a season pass, if you utilise the campsites reasonably frequently, you do get good bang for your buck, for a choice of a word.
So that's a campsite and up to 2 adults, children under 16, free. So it's, yeah. Just so you know that part.
So there's no power on site though, is it? They're just straight at Freedom Camp?
Yeah, definitely no power, no.
Heck of a lot of solar panels, so it's very different camping these days. For many of us, anyway. So,
just on the back of Councillor Cowles' comments, would the Motorhome Association, would there need to be an investment in improved infrastructure like showers, for instance, or something like that to actually attract a real meaningful outcome in that space?
Through the chair, we did conduct a survey a couple of years ago looking at what campers did want in the facilities, and showers were raised, but it was just looking at the current usage, not necessarily looking at future usage. It could be wise moving ahead just when we do need to look at renewing facilities to actually look at reviewing that. That's probably at that stage. We do have a range of facilities that not coming to the end of the use by, but they are older style. And we may just need to look at the strategies moving forward and what we want to achieve and what sort of services we need to provide. But we've got to be mindful of that we do treat as a basic Kiwi camping sort of style, which does encourage family use, and it's just a good chance to get away from the busy life that most people experience to enjoy just something that they can just put their feet up and just enjoy Waitaki it's probably its best and finest through the summer period.
So you with the NZMPA ones, they tend to be more self-contained. You know, they'll have an onboard shower and the toilet and, you know, all the gas, you know, connected fridge and so on. So I think as far as that market goes, they're quite happy to go somewhere. I'd rather pay, you know, $5 or $10 and be able to stay there than $25. But yeah, they're less worried about those other services. Some of them are provided a bit in Otamatawa and possibly in Marama as well. But yeah, as far as the everyday campers, you know, it's good old Kiwi camping where you literally take the kitchen sink and everything else. And there's more than a few sheds set up with calafonts for hot showers and things attached to them. So yeah, it's a great luxurious camping almost.
And I think,
Mr. Hope.
but I think, yeah, looking forward, I mean, the things like, yeah, the ability to generate remote power. So rather than having to connect to a network and things like that may actually open up more possibilities where, you know, perhaps put in solar sites or something like that to sort of increase the offering and perhaps cater to a slightly different target market. You know, will be things that we'll be looking at in the future as that sort of becomes more affordable rather than having to put in, you know, with pretty significant costs attached to putting power infrastructure into a lot of these sites because they were, you know, really a long way from civilization, for whatever better word. So, you know, we'll need to keep evolving what we're offering to sort of match what the sort of customers are going to require.
Would you allow me to move the two recommendations?
I would be thrilled if you could do that. Thank you. So move
I will
Councillor
make it.
Hopkins. Second, Councillor McCone. Thank you. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? That's carried. Now move into public excluded. And so a mover for that, please. Councillor Hopkins, thank you. And Councillor Blackler, second that. Those in favour, please say aye. And against? That's carried. Just a bit of a pause while we get things switched off and on and whatever needs to happen. Thank you.